Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to our launch for Project Echo. So this is our very first review session for this year, and we are going to be running this session on the new platform, which is the iEcho platform. And as you can see, this is what the program is going to look like for today. The first session is on personal finance, and in the book that we read this month is The Personal Finance Revolution by Zibu Masotobe. And the objective for this session is on understanding the basics and core of personal finance. So as session reminders, please mute your microphones on your devices when not talking. And if you have the bandwidth, please keep your videos on and please mute your cell phones. If you need to answer your cell phone, just make sure that the Zoom is on mute and then move away from your device to answer the phone. So a warm welcome to you all. And as we continue, we are going to be going through the introductions, and then the team will introduce themselves. I'll just remind the team members to put their Zoom virtual backgrounds, and then we'll also have a celebration. As you know, our aim is to empower, educate, and celebrate. So for these sessions, we'll start with a celebration, and then we will have a didactic session that will be on education, and then Malebo is the one that's going to run with the didactic on personal finance, and then we'll have questions and answers thereafter. And then on the Empower section, we're going to have Cynthia, who is going to take us through the case presentation and also discuss the book that we read. So just a few things that we're going to be focusing on for your information. We'll be recording this session, and our participants will be able to watch the session later on. So if you have any technical issues or problems with the internet or the electricity, just note that this is being recorded, and then only those that have registered on iEcho will be able to have access to the recording, and then we'll also share the recording on our YouTube channel. So by participating in this session, you're consenting to being recorded. First things first, the naming convention. We'd encourage you to change the name or rename yourself on your devices. And then in this way, we'll be able to see your name. So if it's Morarone Matayeni, you write, and then the institution or the organization you're coming from, then you can indicate here. And then where you are joining from, you can note here. And then if you are attending with other people, then you can just say +1, +2, or +5, depending on how many people are joining you in this particular session. And to do the rename, you just go to your photo, and then on those three buttons on the top on Zoom, you'll be able to see a button that says rename. And if you need to mute, unmute, it's there on your bottom left. And then to share the screen, this is the functionality. And then there's also the chat functionality. So you encourage people to participate in this session, because this is our session. This is our review session where we have read the book. And then in terms of video conference etiquettes, we're going to go to the introductions where you will unmute, you introduce yourself, you can give your name, your designation, and also where you're joining us from. And then when you're not speaking, you can mute, and then make sure that you position your whole face on the camera when your video is on. The do's and don'ts, phones on silent, raise hands to ask a question. And if you're sharing any issue, we know that this month's book is on personal finance. You don't mention names. So to maintain the confidentiality of people's information, you must not say Muraro has X amount of days. No, you can just give that as an example without mentioning somebody's name. At the end of the session, we're going to have feedback. So it'll be just 4 questions that would be feedback on the session. This will be shared on the chat functionality as we continue with the session. So ImPower'd Woman Book Club. So ImPower'd Woman Book Club is a registered nonprofit organization working for the rights and empowerment of women. And our aim is to empower, educate, and celebrate women. So all the activities that we do are around empowerment, education, and also celebration. We do this through a book club where we read one book a month and we review it on the last weekend of the month. Our network at the moment has over 275 women on the WhatsApp group and 30 men that are also reading with us as friends of Empowered Women. And today is the launch of Project ECHO, or Empowered Woman Book Club ECHO program. And we're using the ECHO model. So ECHO has 4 pillars, where the first one is on application, where we are using technology to leverage on scarce resources. You will hear when we introduce ourselves that we've got people that are joining from different parts of the world and different provinces in our country, and technology allows us to do that. And there will be the sharing of best practices to reduce disparity. And it's also a case-based learning model, where later on we'll hear Sinclair take us through a case where we'll relate what we read to our day-to-day lives and how we're going to apply the learnings going forward. And the third one is on monitoring outcomes. So this is a web-based database where we're able to monitor the activities that you're doing within the book club. We'll also introduce or remind you of the discussion section on the IECHO project, where as the review session comes to an end, we can still continue with the discussion on the learnings from the book and how we are sharing and improving our lives from reading. Back to the agenda, we will do the introduction. So I am Mularo Nemataheni. I am the co-facilitator for today's session, also founder of Empowered Woman Book Club. I'm based in Thohoyandou in Limpopo. So I will hand over to my team members to just switch on their videos and introduce themselves. And then later on, we will open for the rest of the team to do the introductions. Just checking who's here from the team. Zinhle, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Zinhle Mtomboti. I'm currently based in Cape Town, and I'm a researcher at Stellenbosch University. Today, I'm the book champion, so I'll be doing the case presentation, and I look forward to the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Zinhle, for that beautiful brief introduction. Over to you, Tanga.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanga Nedzani Mushiane. I'm based in Bloemfontein in the Free State. I'm the book club administrator, and I'll be helping in running today's session. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanga. Malebo.
Hi everyone, I'm Malebo Molefe from I'm Ursula Malebo Molefe from Pretoria, and I'm the coordinator, and I'll be helping Mulalo to run the session, and I'll also talk.
Malebo got muted there. I think she wanted to add that she'll also be doing the didactic for today's session. I'm just checking who else is here. Ndibo, Tagi, are you guys in the session? You can see there's also another one, but without the video on, so I'm not able to see who is here in the session. But as they come up, we'll do the introductions. I'll also hand over to Dr. Trina Spencer for her to do the introductions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trina Spencer, and I actually work for Project ECHO, and I am the consultant for Africa, Project ECHO for Education. And I was recently living in South Africa as a Fulbright scholar at the University of Pretoria. I've traveled all around South Africa and will be coming back in just a couple of weeks. But my job is to really just support groups like yours use the ECHO model. Thanks for letting me be here.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Now we are going to hand over to the participants that are joining us in this session, the ladies that are part of ImPower'd Woman Book Club, to then introduce themselves. If you're ready, you can simply raise your hand and then I will hand over to you to do the introduction. Who would like to go first? Yes.
All right, great stuff. My name is Komocho Motsecha. I'm based in Polokwane, Limpopo. I'm a member of the ImPower'd Women Book Club and founder of Tenderfin. We do purchase order funding. I also chair the Limpopo chapter of the Businesswomen Association. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the discussions today.
Thank you very much, my chairperson on BWA. So I'll just take this time and say, ladies who are in Limpopo, if you haven't joined the Businesswomen Association of Southern Africa, the Limpopo chapter, Kumo is part of our book club and she's also the chairperson. So we work together in that one. Itumeleng, I've noted your hand. You can introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Itumeleng May from Bloemfontein and a newly member of the ImPower'd Woman Book Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Itumeleng. Who would like to go next? Okay. Yes, Maria, you can introduce yourself and then after Moipone.
Hello.
Hello. Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying I'm Mariam Famadi. I'm an author. I'm a member of the ImPower'd Book Club.
Thank you very much. And just to add on that, we're going to be reading her book in June. Is Total Forgiveness Possible? So we look forward to engaging you more in this book club. Thank you. Moipone, you can go next.
Hello, ladies. Good afternoon. I'm Moipone Ndlovu. I'm joining in from Maseru, Lesotho. This is actually my very first meeting with the book club. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We do indicate that ImPower'd Women Book Club, it's actually a global book club. So anyone else that would like to go next before we move to the next session? If you're having any difficulties with finding the unmute raising of hands, you can also use the chat functionality to introduce yourself, and then we'll note that as we continue. Sesetu?
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Sesetu Nyatela, and I'm joining in from Bethlehem in the Free State.
Thank you for the introduction, Sesetu. I'm keeping stats here, and I can see that the Free State team is dominating. Lorraine, you're welcome. You can introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Lorraine Madosi, and I am tuning in from Centurion.
Thank you, Lorraine, and welcome to our review session. Just checking if there's any other hand. If there is no other hands, you're most welcome to use the chat functionality to introduce yourself, and also we will make note of that. You can see there's Tinawanga, who is also joining us from the Bloemfontein in the Free State. Looks like we're all going to move to the Free State because you're busy. The next thing on our agenda is the celebration part where we're going to spotlight the award that we received. So as you can see from this photo in 2022, that was in October.
Since I will skip this part and move to the next one, because I want Mulalo to do the spotlight and the celebration, because yeah, of the award and everything. But we are an award-winning book club. We won an award, Essential Woman. I forgot the name, but Mulalo will just tell you more about it. But I was present, and it was amazing to win such an award as a book club. And you know, it's all because of everyone, and we are proud of all our members, because without you, we wouldn't have gotten there. Thank you so much for being part of the book club. But yeah, and Mulalo will explain further about the award, and I will move on to the next one. Trina, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We live in South Africa, ne? So sorry, I got disconnected, but I could hear that Malebo was sharing about this award that we won as the winner in the non-profit organization sector, and this is on Southern Africa. So this is not just South Africa. So this was on Southern Africa, and the work that we do, this is me and Malebo receiving this particular award in October, and it was nice to be celebrated and also celebrate all the women that make up ImPower'd Woman Book Club. So just a little bit more on this award. It recognizes and acknowledges the organizations that have strategies in place to allow for future programs or have implemented sustainable initiatives around poverty elevation, which have enhanced skills and provide income opportunity that have positively impacted the lives of women and poor communities. So with us in the book club, it's all about empowering women and positioning you so that you can be productive in all that you do, and also be economically empowered. You attest that from reading this month's book, you're also able to do something better to improve your situations or wherever you find yourself. Now we're going to move over to the next aspect, which is on education. I'm going to hand over to Eshla Malebo Molefe, who is going to take us through the didactic on personal finance. Over to you, Malebo.
Okay. Can you please move on to the next slide? Hi, everyone. My name is Malebo. By profession, I'm a financial advisor, a wealth coach. And what I do is coach people with their finances, more especially people who are starting with their employment, because I want to empower those women to use their money right and everything. And the 4 pillars that I use for those women, it's not only women, also men, but yeah, mostly women. That is the people that I'm working with. Is help them to create a budget, because creating a budget is one of the if you fail to plan, you actually failing in life. You need to plan your life, and a budget, that's what it does for you. It helps you with the planning of your money, how you're gonna spend it. And you know, I like how Zibu has said it in the book. She said that you are directing your money where it's supposed to go, and that's what a budget is. It's about directing your money where it's supposed to go, to help you not to overspend. Because you know, if you don't do that, you go to a shop and you end up buying things that it was not on the list, then you are out of the budget. So you must have a budget at the beginning of the month so that you can direct your money where it's supposed to go. And the next pillar for people who are in debt is to help them to get out of debt. Because you know, debt is one thing that is stealing your future income. So it's very important. I know people, they say that there's good debt and bad debt, and they say a bond. Most people, they say a bond is a good debt because you are actually paying for an asset. But an asset is something that brings you money. So if you're staying in a house and you're paying for a bond, it's actually not bringing you money. So it is classified as a debt, not really as an asset, although in the future you might buy it. But the fact that right now that asset is not bringing you money, we don't classify it as a debt, as an asset, we classify it as a debt. So we're talking about your car finance, your personal loan, your credit cards, and your bond also. So, you know, you need to have a structure on how to get out of debt. And yeah, I will explain further on the next slide. And then creating an emergency fund, that's very important pillar because you need an emergency fund. Winter visits us all, you know, we find ourselves in situations that we didn't plan all the time. So an emergency fund is there to help you through that situation, to make sure that you are able to get out of that situation without much harm, without getting into debt. So ideally, you must have at least 6 months of your living expenses as an emergency fund. And once you have this, you are ready to start investing. Investing, there's a whole lot of things that you can invest into, but I would advise everyone to invest in education so that they can be able to know which investment work for them. You know, there's property, but you need to know the pros and cons of property. There is equity, but you need to learn the pros and cons of equity. So if you can invest in education and learn more about equities and property, you will be in a better position to start investing. Yes, there are financial advisors to help you, but you know, with the history of financial planners, we are actually painted with the red because we are seen as going after commission. And I must admit, I have seen financial planners going after commission and not looking at the people's interest. But there are good financial planners who can help you. But the best thing is to equip yourself, not to rely on a financial planner, although they can help you, guide you once you have the education. But I would advise you to first invest in the education before you go to a financial planner. And this book that we are reading, it's the first education that will help you so that you are well equipped when you go to see an advisor. Mulalo, next slide. You know, I just did 4 points on how to help you get out of a budget. You know, you need to look at, I think also Zubi has said it in the book, that go back to your bank statement and look at how you have spent your money in the past 6 months, so that you are aware which expenses are important to you and everything. And after that, you can be able to sort of like start creating your budget, because you know your spending habits, you know where you are likely to spend money. And from that, you need to identify what are the needs, what are the wants, because most of the time you'll find that you're spending your money on wants. And that's why maybe things month end, your money is not able to reach month end because you are spending your money on wants. So you need to prioritize your needs first, and then maybe you can add wants. But if you are in debt, I would say look at your needs first. Only, not first. Look at your needs and move on from there. And I'm not sure how many of you have done accounting at school. So there's a income statement. An income statement, what it does is that it lists your income. That will be your salary. And from your income, you list all your expenses. That will be your whatever you are paying for school fees, groceries, water and lights, and everything that you are paying for on a monthly basis. And then it will give you an indication that how much are you spending and how much are you left with? Are you in the red or are you in the green? That will also help you. And when you're also creating a budget, don't forget about the tires. The tires needs to be changed. Don't forget about winter clothes. Children will need winter clothes. It's not something that you incur monthly, but it's something that will come in and affect your budget. So plan for it ahead. Don't forget about it and say, I'm focusing on this month and everything, because those things, they're gonna affect you when you need to change your tires, when you need to buy, because when you need to buy clothes, it's winter. Kids need clothes. It's not something that you can postpone. So if you can plan for it ahead, it will help you so much. Next slide. And getting the second point that I would like to talk more about is getting out of debt. If you are in debt, I would recommend that you focus only on necessary things, food, school fees, water and lights, and forget about shopping up until you are able to get out of debt. Just focus on the necessities. And another thing is that if you're really determined to get out of debt, you need to list all your debt. You need to write it down to say, this is my debt. I owe a credit card. This is the interest rate that the credit card I'm paying. I'm owing a bond. This is what I'm paying on my bond, and I'm owing a car. This is the interest rate I'm paying on the car. And then from that, after you have listed, you need to sort of like in the first slide, I have indicated that, you need to sort of like list your wants from your needs. So if there is extra money that is there that you are able to channel to your debt, I would suggest that you do that, because it's no point buying those bags, those shoes, where else you are in debt. You need to channel that money to pay in the debt that you have. And normally I would say start with the most expensive debt. But sometimes it's not possible, because maybe the most expensive debt will be the highest debt, and you want to feel that you want to feel that you are moving. So I would say that start with the smallest debt that you have, so that you can move into the process. If you have a clothing account and it's 2,000, start with that first and try to tackle it, and then move to the next one and move to the next one. And that will give you a sense of achievement, because once you see that, I had 5 accounts that I was paying, now I have 4, you'll be more determined to get to 3, get to 2, get to 1. And if you can follow this, I promise you, even your bond, you can finish it in 10 years instead of 20 years, because you are focused on eliminating debt. And then the third point that I want to talk about is creating an emergency fund. I did say that 6 months of your living expenses would be ideal when you're creating an emergency fund. And at least you must aim to save about 10% on a monthly basis. I know it might not be possible for everyone to save 10%, but I would say maybe start with whatever you can. If it's 500 that you can start with, it's fine. If it's 100 rand, it's fine. But just start the process of creating an emergency fund. It will help you in times when you really, really, really need, there's an emergency. And we all know that emergencies happen at any point in life. Last year, I had an emergency where our geyser at home, it burst. And unfortunately, it needed 5,000 to be repaired. I had to go to my emergency fund and fix that, because it's something that, you know, you cannot wait. And if you don't have that money, you have to go into debt. Luckily, I had it and I had to fix it. But yeah, those are the examples of the emergencies that could happen. And with an emergency fund, really, you don't want to invest that money. You want to make sure that you keep it, you know, in a bank account where you can be able to access it. Because I work with investment, I know we have a money market account, which is really good when you start an emergency fund. It gives you good rate, like 5% or on an annual basis. So I would really recommend a money market when you're starting to save for your emergency fund. And yeah, you need to stay focused on the goal, because, you know, sometimes, you know, I always say that financial coaching is more like it's more like dieting. You know, sometimes you feel like it's gonna take forever to get to your goal and you want to give up. No, you must stay focused and not give up. You know, when you're dieting, sometimes you feel like, you know, I've been eating healthy, within a week I must see something, but sometimes the results, they take time, and you must be patient with yourself, but keep on eating healthy, keep on exercising, and you will see the results. Also with savings, it's the same. You must keep on, even though you feel like, you know, it's gonna take forever. It will eventually, with the right habits, you will get there. And then the last point that I want to do is start investing. Like I have indicated before, you need to educate yourself on different investment options, so that you can understand what you're investing into. Because sometimes people, they just invest money. Like, you know, I'm going to give an example with property. Property, people have said that it's a great investment, and people have went there and bought houses. But what they found out when they bought houses is that there's actually renovations expenses. Like when the first tenant comes out, you need to renovate the place. That is an expense on your side, and if you didn't plan for it, it becomes, you feel like, you know, this is not the right investment for you. You need to and sometimes your bond can be 6,000, but you're only able to generate a rental income of 5.5. So you are also not really getting everything that you're putting in. So it might feel like it's not the right investment. So if you can learn about those things before you go in, at least you are far ahead, and you will stay into the investment and not give up very easily because of those things, because you know that these things, they happen, and you will be prepared for them. So that's investment. Because also with equities, you'll find that you have invested into equities, then within the first year, the market goes down. And it goes, maybe if you have invested 10,000, your money now is showing as 8,000. If you take up that money there, you have filled your loss. But if you stay the course, the market, when they improve, they might improve even to a higher rate, then your investment will be sitting at 12,000. So you need to understand that whenever you invest, there are things that are going to happen that are not to your benefit, and you need to stay the course. So that's why I'm saying educate yourself. Thank you very much, Mulalo. I think I went above over my time, so I will hand over to you. Thank you so much. Hello. I think Molalo has, I don't know, I'm not sure if she's having any network issues, but we would like to continue with, we would like to continue. And Trina, if you can help us with.
Yeah, sure. I think we should just move over to the questions. So this is allowing the participants in the group to ask you questions about the didactic. Okay, so if you're interested in asking Ursula a question, please use the raise your hand feature and the reactions, and I'll just call on a few people until maybe Mulalo can get back in. Okay. All right. So if you have a question for Ursula, please raise your hand, or you could type something in the chat. Okay, I can't tell who it is, but go ahead, whoever has your hand raised. It's part of the ImPower'd Woman group. Go ahead.
Hi, Trina. Thank you. It's Tanga. Thank you, Malibu, for such a great presentation. My question is around the money market investment. I wanted to find out if there's a minimum amount that you need to have for you to start investing in that account. Thanks.
Yes, there's a minimum amount. If you're investing a lump sum, 10,000 will be a minimum. But if you want to invest on a monthly basis, 1,000 on a monthly basis will be the minimum. If you're using a money market. But there's different kinds of money markets. You'll find the ones that they offer at the bank. Specifically, I'm talking about the ones that you find with Allen Gray, with Coronation, with asset managers specifically, because I think, being in the industry for 18 years, I think those are the best ones on the market, because they give you the right rate. So I won't speak for bank products, I will speak for those ones. Thank you, Tanga. I hope that answers your question.
Mm-hmm. All right, do we have any more questions? Go ahead and just raise your hand.
Hi, everybody.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the session, Malebu. So
thank you.
I wanted to find out, Malebu, if there's specific apps that you can recommend as far as budgeting, and maybe something that has to do with the income statement as well, something that leads you, that for somebody who's not that financial literate, really trying to get their finances right. Thank you.
Hey, Mpali. Actually, currently I'm using the one with the bank that I have, which is NetBank. And there is something. It's just that I need to check it out. I will write a message once I know it. But actually, you have touched on my passion project, because I'm working on developing an app called Dwelfin that will help you with creating a budget, all the things that I've discussed. We want to put it in a package, in an app, and we've been working on it. I'm sure by the end of the year, or we'll be able to launch that app.
Oh, wow, that's amazing, Malebu. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Hope to be using it soon.
All right.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, we're at just the right time to transition to the case presentation by Zinle. Are you ready to do that, Zinle? Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Ursula, for the didactic portion of this session.
Yes, can you please share the slides? Trina, you're muted.
I do not have the slides that have your content in it. Is Mulalo back on the call?
I am not sure. Okay, let me just check quickly.
Yeah, I don't have them. Actually, it looks like maybe she emailed them to us.
Yeah, I think I might have them. Let me just quickly check.
I mean, what I have is a slide, but it just has your name on it. It doesn't have anything else. What content were you wanting me to share?
I was hoping. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I also that one. So I was hoping maybe it's part of the slides, but I don't think so. So it's fine. I'll just okay. Wait, there's this.
Are you thinking about the case presentation? Is that what you're looking at? Or wanting?
Yes.
Okay, I can share that.
Okay, thanks.
There we go. This one?
Yes, can you go down a bit? Okay. Yeah, okay, we can use this one, it's fine.
Okay.
Sorry everyone about that. Good afternoon. And again, as I said, my name is Zibu Masotobe and I'm a researcher. So I'm gonna be doing the session, which is the case presentation. And the way we'll be doing it now is that I chose a broader topic that was kind of related to the book that we read. And something that interested me, I guess, is the interest rates, because of late I've been seeing a lot of articles about people defaulting their payments, houses being repossessed, cars being repossessed, and people generally saying that they're struggling because the interest rate keeps going up and going up and going up, and they're struggling to keep up with the cost of living. And as you realize, most of you got an increase at the beginning of the year, but it's nothing compared to how bad things have gotten in terms of the cost of living. Those of you who have houses, you have a bond to pay, you have a car repayment, it keeps going up. So yeah, like I said, we find ourselves in tough economic times due to the increase in interest rates, and it has resulted in higher installments, which has made it hard for us to do debt repayment. So I wanted to tie this in with the book, the one we were reading, The Personal Finance. And I guess I wanted us to discuss, like, what lessons have you learned from the book that you feel like can help you in these tough times? So I'm hoping for more of a discussion. I don't have any slides other than this. So I'm hoping to really hear from you guys as to how things are going. So can someone please let us know what lessons they have learned from the book and they feel like they can be applying in their lives going forward? Yes, I see a hand. Yes, at my level, please go ahead.
Hi. For me, the most thing that I liked about the book is the part where you sort of like tell yourself that those I don't know what they call it, but you tell yourself that you will have money, and it's sort of, for me, it's sort of like a spiritual thing that you are calling the universe to say, I have money, and I will be able to afford, because I think that is very important in life, because it's we like talking negatively about the money, that I cannot afford, I cannot do this. But I know very well that if you can change your mindset and say that, and tell yourself, I can be able to afford, I will have the money for this, and I like that of the book where Zibu has said, that, let's be positive about money. Let's try not to be negative around it and say negative things about it, because I don't know. They've always made an example about Kanyimbao. She always says, money loves me. And money comes to her all the time. I mean, she's living a very, I could say, a luxurious life. I could say that, but because she's calling money to her. And I think that's a very important thing, that we must call money to come to us. We must leave the negative talk that, I can't afford this, I can't, because you can. Once you call money, money is going to come to you. So that was the part that I enjoyed the most. Thank you, Zintle.
Thank you so much. I love that. I love that. I guess it also ties down with gratitude, right? That the moment you get paid or the moment you get money, you should be grateful for the money that you have, and you should be grateful that, okay, I can afford my bills, I can afford to do this. I think one thing my mom always taught me from a young age was, whenever she would give me like money, special notes, and I would just like take them, and she'd be like, you don't do that. Like, respect it, show it love, you know what I mean? Like, arrange it in such a way that you can also see it. You need to be able to get a view of your money. You must take good care of your money. When I give you money, like even now when I get money, I always arrange it in such a way that it's in order, because that's what I am used to. She told me that if you love it and you take good care of it, it will keep coming back for more, because it knows that in you it feels safe. But if you just crumble it and put it wherever, then you don't even know where it is. Then you don't, like, it never comes back to you, because it doesn't feel the love. Yes, respect the money and take good care of it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Malebo. So I see another hand. Yes, Coach Valley, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So for me, one of the things that really stood out, it's actually the book itself, how accurate she is about, the South African person and our spending habits and the kind of things that really affect us. In the past, I have read some books on finances, but I've never read a South African one. So I just loved how accurate it is, and also where I can see myself, in some of the things that she was talking about. And so one of the things is the debt spiral, how really it sucks you in and traps you. And it becomes a thing where it's almost a lifetime of repaying money that you haven't earned yet, So yeah, that was really big for me. The other thing that stood out for me was how our upbringing or our caregivers, the way that they dealt with money, ultimately affects us, because as a child, maybe you'll ask your mother or whoever is around for money, and they say, hey, we don't have money for sweets, or we don't have money to waste, and things like that. And then in turn, the child starts to feel unworthy, and that goes into your adulthood. And if and it also becomes attached, to your emotions. And if one doesn't deal with it, we end up in a lot of financial crisis because, of the emotional attachments, negative ones, unfortunately, because of that. And the other thing that I really liked is how she exposed, the way that it's advertised, especially by big banks and, other financial institutions, where they make it look like they have your back, but really they're just trying to make money for themselves and putting you deeper, into debt, and things like that. So I'm not done yet. I'm going to be doing the 8 steps, but so far I really loved, how she just puts everything out there, and the car agreement, that you think you're paying this amount, and then all of a sudden you've got the car, so many other things pop up, you find yourself trapped, you can't even maintain this thing that you're paying off, becomes almost, an enemy to you, because it takes away so much money, more money than you initially thought, it would. So yeah, those are the key lessons for me so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I agree with that. The putting it in the South African context, because I've been reading like financial books for a while, and most of them were not like South African based. So sometimes I couldn't really relate because the things they were complaining about or excited about, they were not for me, because I'm like, we don't have that, or that's not really how it works this side. So I think that like it was one of those books that we needed when it came out. And like you said, again, the family influence plays a big role, even though we don't realize it. So it comes back to you working on yourself at some point and being honest about where you have all these beliefs and where they come from. Because if you don't work on yourself, you keep going with these things because you believe it's how it's supposed to be, but you don't realize that it's actually influenced from other people. And as for the financial institutions, I guess it goes back to what Malebu said, where she said the biggest investment you can make is on education, right? So if you take time to educate yourself, you then understand that a credit card is not all it seems, or if I can pay it back every month or pay it back as soon as I use it, then I don't suffer from the interest. But if I keep using it and using it and using it, eventually I'm gonna keep owing the bank. And as for the car agreement, I actually felt sorry for her because she had a car that was fuel efficient. It could get her wherever she needed. And then she buys this new car, and all of a sudden now the car is telling her, you can't drive me this much, you cannot do this. So it was such a terrible investment. I just spent all this money for this car so people can see you, but you can't even do the basic things that you need to do because you need to remember that the car needs to keep its value. Thank you so much for that, Mali. Do we have any more comments or even questions? Do people have questions about maybe some of the things that were on the book, whether it's how to apply them or they tried or it didn't work? So yeah, it can be comments or it can be questions. Do we have any questions as well? I see Kopano, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I almost said ladies, but I'm not sure if they're gents. So, blessed Sunday to everyone. So, so this book, firstly, a friend of mine has been talking about Zibu for a while. So I was quite happy to finally get to read the book. And the mistake I made, she said, no, I've got the book, don't buy it. Hey, and I when I read, I like to write and make notes and highlight. So I've not necessarily been able to do so with hers. So it means I still need to buy the book. But for me, I think I'll start with the things that I valued, and then the things that I think I felt they are a discussion point because they had a bit of a question mark for me. So the things that I definitely valued is the mind, obviously, and it's always, I think for us, especially as Black people, the mindset thing is critical because that's where it starts. And it's really the thing about the feeling of deservingness and worthiness around money and breaking certain belief systems that make one, getting, using, and keeping money a challenge. So it was a nice reminder for me to reflect on that and to review that and to start introducing it was nice also for the new year to start enforcing that when I wake up, I say certain things that reinforce the positive belief system that I'm choosing to move forward with. And also what a great nugget when I was reading the book also was that snowball effect of how to deal with debt. So when you clear Edgar's and you're owing Edgar's 3,500, now 3,500 becomes available for your next debt. And then when you're done with that and you now have opened up 8,000 Rand, which now becomes available for your next debt. So that I thought that was a very practical way also of dealing with, let's say, 5 creditors where you owe them 100,000, but you don't have 100, you can't pay them off at the same time. But if you work on the periodic example or technique that they provide, it's quite clever and it makes sense. And then obviously, whether it's the debt spiral, being able to see where you are, And it was just a great book for self-introspection. That's what I felt. Some parts were uncomfortable, but some parts are what they are. You know, you're like, if you're going to come out of this, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and face it. An area that I also particularly like, when I started this, I said, I want to become a millionaire, billionaire doing the things I love. And I was so happy when she touched on that, because I find that, like, firstly, there's a book by Max Moyo. He says, if you're poor or you're struggling, it's because you have not connected with your identity, because it's in who you are. It's when you do the things that you are uniquely designed to do that you will always be the best, that you will always thrive. And I almost feel like that's an area that we really need to keep going back to, you know, to make sure that we're creating value we're creating value as ourselves. Meaning you create value in the ways that you are designed to create value. If you are creative, that's how you should be creating value, because that's how you are designed to create value for the world. So, you know, I'm focusing this year a lot on my speaking, the coaching that I'm going to be doing on the speaking, because I believe those are some of the gifts that I really have and I need to optimize. I think it's, you know, so many people struggle with that. And so I need to optimize that. But on the discussion front, so she was talking, where I struggled, she was talking about stokvels and likening them to mashonisa. And I didn't think they were the same thing. And so I felt like for a South African, she should be able to differentiate. Mashonisa is a loan shark in terms of how we know the meaning of mashonisa. And stokvels they have different modalities. So I didn't think it was the best way to liken them, although when she was describing, I think, her MRC, it sounded like a normal stokvel. So I think I felt like I want to get a sense of how did we understand that and what, yeah. And then also, so I've also been a big student of Robert Kiyosaki, right? And other financial teachers. So where sometimes the disconnect with this book and Robert's teaching comes is, Robert will teach you to use other people's money. So to have good debt, where instead of going and taking your savings and putting them somewhere, go to the bank, get that capital, put that capital, you know, let it buy you the asset and generate the next source of income, build your second golden goose from it. So I think it's about a discussion of how do we do both, because he also, obviously, for the longest time, I valued that, but yeah, we will at the same time, you don't want to over-indebt yourself. So it's also that healthy conflict that needs us to reflect on it, because white people do it very well. We haven't been taught how to create good debt and how to use it for our leverage. They don't have to wait to have saved up $1 million to create value for $1 million and 10 million. You know, they use the banks for that. So those were sort of some, and in some way we're having a discussion. So with some friends who are in a network marketing thing, and we were saying maybe also network marketing is one of the ways that Black people can create money for capital, where it's obviously where you're not, you know, it's not big chunks. You build up to a point where you've got money, and then you can buy your Bolt, you can buy your property, you can buy without having necessarily to put yourself in debt going the bank route. So these are just these aspects were the two things that I felt needed a discussion. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was very interesting, and that was very detailed. When it comes to the point you'd like to discuss, I think I would chip in on the stokvel mashonisa part, and I'm hoping someone can come and tell us more about how to use other people's money, because that's also something I'm struggling with, because I'm very scared of debt. So whenever I have debt, I try to pay it off as soon as possible. So for me to even think about taking money from the bank and using that to make money for myself, it still scares me. So I don't know. I'm hoping someone can come in and help us with that. But I'm with you when it comes to the stokvel, because when I first read it as well, I was very confused as like what she meant by that, because in my experience, I'm involved in quite a few stokvels. I have the one with Lalo where you just save your money, then you get it back in January. I have one with some of my friends where we are actually trying to start a business. So we've been contributing, and we're hoping, we're still not sure which business to start, but at the end of the year, we're not taking out the money, we're just leaving it there. And then also now we started borrowing each other money, and we have like the highest you can pay on interest is like 20%. That's if you take it for like 6 months. So for me, stokvels have always been so positive. But as I read her book, I realized that I feel like she meant for Mashonisa, because I really struggle to believe that if you are part of a stokvel and then we decide to loan you money, that we would expect you every month, your money grows by 50%. And if you don't pay it the following month, whatever is the balance grows by 50%. So I felt a disconnect there too. I still feel like, for me, it felt more like she was talking about Bomashonisa, not the stokvel, unless someone knows of someone who's had such an experience with the stokvel, or they've had such an experience themselves. Yeah, comments will be welcome as to the stokvel Mashonisa part, and also if someone can help us as to how to use other people's money to be rich, we would appreciate that. I see 2 hands. Lalo, please go ahead, then Bali will come after you.
Thank you very much, Zinke. And when it comes to the stokvels, I also read that part, that looking at how people are running different stokvels in the different communities, that is also a reality in some of the stokvels, where people are forced to borrow money from the stokvel, and then there is an interest rate that is put on that stokvel to ensure that there is growth in the money in the name of the stokvel, and then they share that money at the end. So it depicts reality, but I think the way that it's written, it was noted as how the Mashonisas work. But there are stokvels that operate like that. And when it comes to the aspect of borrowing or using other people's money, using other people's time, that would be if you want to start a business or you've got a loan at the bank, and then instead of paying that off, let's say a home loan, for example, instead of paying that off, then use that amount as equity aspect to say, okay, I've been paying well, now I would like to extend or buy another property. And then you use that access to finance to now purchase other productive assets. It's more of saying we've got access to this, let's use it for other productive ways that will bring in more money on the portfolio that we're building. But while I'm still here, let me touch on my highlight of the book and what stood out for me. I was disconnected for most of the time, but for me, it was on the spending profiles where she speaks about the payer, the buyer, the payer, and the investor. And that is such a reality. When you look at the things that you own, you just see stuff, and it's not even stuff that has value. You look at the wardrobe, you just see stuff. And I think by reading this book, this is one thing that would make one to, or make me, let me speak for myself, make me question the things that I buy going forward. One of my goals this year is to buy gold studs, like real gold earrings, or any other jewelry, but jewelry that is gold, that is diamond, not all the things that are there in my stuff, because I've got earrings that I don't want to wear. I don't want to be seen wearing them, but it's just stuff, different designs. And then you're like, okay, had I read this book earlier on, I wouldn't have spent my money on those things. So yeah, those are some of the things that have changed. I love going to the mall. I love Tavani Mall. I'm not going to stop, but I'm more disciplined now. If I'm going to buy toilet paper, we go in, we buy toilet paper, and then we go out. But before reading this book, they know when I go into the mall, I come up with things that I don't need. So this has assisted in maintaining that discipline. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mbali, please go ahead.
Yeah, my comment is actually about the stokvels. I was actually part of one where I joined for a year and I was out because it was just ridiculous. You start, say, maybe with 500, and then you are forced to take maybe 1,000 for the entire year, and then every month you pay back like 300, and then that's the interest, right? You pay back the 300 every month, and then at the end of the year, everybody needs to take something, like they'll have a minimum amount, and then we all share the interest, and then you still need to give back the capital, you know, they gave you. So if you took 1,000, bring back that 1,000, and over the year you paid, you know, the 300 every month. So yeah, it was just crazy. So yeah, they do exist. They do work more like Mashonisa because the gap keeps opening up. You know, it doesn't close to a point where most members would actually lose the money they put in, even those interests, because they couldn't keep up, you know, with the payments. So they work more or less like the Mashonisas. I think that's why she used, you know, yeah, more or less the same example for both of them. Thank you.
Okay, wow, thank you for that. Interesting. Okay, that's that's very interesting and kind of disturbing. But I'm very happy you left and you didn't have to go to Zibu for her to come and negotiate a better rate for you. Okay, I'm not really sure on how we are doing on time, and yeah, I don't know if we have any more comments or questions, but thank you guys so much for this. Honestly, I read the book. This was my second time reading it, but discussing with you guys and listening to you guys talk about your discussions, there are things that I had not thought about, or I guess things I took for granted because I thought I already knew. Yeah, thank you, Mlalo, for choosing the book and for letting me discuss with you guys. So I also follow Zibu on Facebook, so she's like one of my favorite people ever. I like her because like she can be very controversial in some of the things that she posts, but she stands by, like, whatever opinion she has, she stands by it, no matter how many times come for her and try to shake her, which I admire, because right now she's dealing with a lot of issues that we are dealing with in South Africa, not just in terms of finance, but I feel like she's using her page to kind of challenge the status quo, which is not easy considering she's someone with the business. They can easily come for her and punish her, but she's just not having it. She's fighting for what she believes in, and which is something I admire. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mlalo, for this, and thank you, Echo, for joining the book club. So thank you guys. I see hands. I don't know if they're old hands or new hands.
New hands.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, this is my last comment. When I was sharing, I forgot to speak about the part where you are grateful for your money. You know, that was like super important, because you know, the more that you're grateful for something. There's a scripture that was that's written in the book, and I used to struggle with that scripture that says, to whom more is given, you know, they get more, and to those that have nothing, it will be taken away even more. And I would ask myself, you know, what does this mean? But I never really took the time out, like you said earlier, you know, education is the best investment, to actually find out what does this mean. And I found the explanation that when you are grateful for your money, you will get more. And in turn, you start being able to manage your money better, which means the chances of you increasing your money become more. And when you are not grateful for your money, you don't notice that you've got 5,000 in the account. You just blow it. The next thing, you have nothing. And then you're always saying, I don't have money, but you had 5,000 that you didn't even acknowledge. And then that 5,000 gets taken away from you because you're always saying, I don't have money, I don't have money. And it's also, you know, the power of words. But obviously, starting from the way that we think about money, that goes back to the belief system, you know, that one gets, that's in the subconscious mind, that one needs to deal with, you know, as an adult. As a parent, this really has opened my eyes up, you know, to my own behaviors, you know, around money. That what am I teaching to my children? What am I teaching to other people? Because it's not just kids that are watching, you know. So I really love that. And also the thing about stuff that Muraro was talking about, you find, you know, your house full of stuff, a lot that you really don't need, you know. And for me, that opened me up to say, let me give away, you know, a lot of the stuff. Let me keep the things that you love, because she says, when you get
when you have more things that you love and use, then you attract even more things that you love and use, instead of just filling up, your house with designer this, designer that, this and that, but you don't really use. So Muraro wants gold earrings, then she must get them, and then she knows that these ones I'll wear anyway. She's not ashamed of them, because the stuff you end up not using, you can't even wear, but you just keep buying more, also then going back to the belief system. It's really been like that life-changing kind of a book. I will still be doing the 8 steps, and I'm really excited about that. I love books that you read and there's things that you actually do that make a real impact in your life, and unlike just reading a book and then that's it, and there's nothing to really, there's no substance in it to say this is what I did and this is how it changed my life. So thank you so much to Muraro and the book club and the ladies, for sharing their comments. It's really, really amazing. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for that. And I like the scripture part because I feel like it's one of the scriptures that I struggled with for the longest time, until actually it was her on her Facebook. She had written the scripture and she explained that it was gratitude that determined whether you had more or less. And I had never seen that scripture the same way again. It's one of my favorite scriptures now. Okay, there's another hand.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Zinhle. My comment, I don't have a comment on the issue of the Stokvels. I also, just like you, I also felt like she was referring to Machonisas, because I've not really experienced a Stokvel to be that way. My comment would be on what stood out for me from the book. Like, for me, the fact that peer pressure still deals with us as adults, like looking at what Zibu went through when she had to buy a new car that she didn't really need, and she ended up being limited. She couldn't do the things that she used to do with the other car. And also looking at Mandla, for instance, when he was earning 4,500, I think he was happier at that stage compared to when he was now earning more, because the moment he started earning more, he felt that he was deserving of more things that he couldn't even achieve. He couldn't even afford. For me, that really stood out to say sometimes it's not even the pressure from outside, we pressurize ourselves. Because no one said to Mandla, the standard that you're living, it's not up to your level at work. That's just pressure that he inflicted on himself. And then the other thing, I liked the fact that the book was practical, all the activities that we had to do. Some of them were very uncomfortable. Like, I think someone else mentioned that it was uncomfortable at some stage, but I loved that it was practical and it's relevant to us as South Africans and what we're going through. So I think what is important is for us to not fall for advertisements the way we do and the way Zibu fell for that car, because of the way it was advertised, with the pictures taken of certain women that are standardized as what success looks like. Those are the things that it's a takeaway from me. Yeah. And then also the importance of going through your statement. It's something that I had already started doing, but I was not that consistent. I started doing that since I joined the book club. Thank you to Muraro. She's the one who actually directed me to study my bank statement. And then the issue of buying stuff. I think us as women, we are bad in buying stuff. Like, we've got so many stuff that we buy. They range from electronics, kitchen electronics. You want to try this, you want to do that. Some of them, you use them once and that's it. You're not going to use that appliance ever again. And then also what I liked was the issue of food. Buying food that you don't need. You're buying things that are going to get rotten. Some of them will expire without you even having opened them. I'm a culprit when it comes to that. And I've actually told myself that this year, I'm not going to buy groceries from my account, but I'm going to withdraw the money that is assigned to groceries and have it as hard cash. When it's finished, it's finished. Whatever that I could buy, that's it. There's no moving over the budget. So that's what I learned. And I'm not as disciplined as Moraro, so I'm going to avoid going to malls when I don't need anything. There's a spa on my way home from work that I would usually just get to spa without even knowing what I want, and I'll come out with stuff. So these days, since I started reading this book, I pass spa because there's nothing that I need from spa. So yeah, it was a very beautiful read, guys. I really enjoyed it. And thank you to Empowered Woman for having this book in the list of our readings for this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I would like to testify that bank statements work. I think my first year or second year of working, I was like, I had just discovered online shopping, so I was always buying something. But I never really realized how much I was spending until I think it was Nicolette. I just started following her. She was like, just print your bank statement for the last 3 months or something, which I did. And I even had like a red pen for all the online shopping. I was traumatized, guys. I was traumatized as to how much money I had actually spent online shopping. And I could barely point to anything that I could say, okay, at least I bought that or bought that. I didn't even know where the stuff went or what exactly I bought. I was just buying stuff. So for me, that worked like magic. I literally stopped. I still buy online, but whenever you see me buying something, it's because it's something I need. I no longer, and then I also unsubscribe for the emails where they tell you this is the daily deal. I don't do that anymore either because every time there's a daily deal, there's something you need. So I don't do that. I only go online because I am looking for something, then I'm looking for a good deal, and I'm the one who decided to go there. So please go back and study your bank statements. If you know you like clothes, go highlight all those Mr. Prices and Foschini there, and then you will see how much money you are spending. And you can barely point to anything you like that you bought in the last 3 months or 6 months, but every single month you find yourself having to buy something. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies. This was a very fruitful discussion, and I hope we learned a lot. If there's still any comments or questions, you can post them on the chat. So remember, Zibu is also going to be watching this, and she will be answering any questions that you guys have. So even if it's just questions for her, I guess people can just raise their hands and then just leave the questions for her. Then when she goes to the recording, then she will answer them. I don't know if there'll be a different session or it will be in the group. But from me, honestly, thank you so much, guys. I'm one of those people who never stop talking, so I'm just going to mute myself. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Sinclair, for that case presentation and the engagement that was done when it comes to the book that we've read. You covered that very well. Thank you so much. There's also recommendations after the questions on our agenda, but I can see there's more recommendations that are coming up on the chat functionality. We spoke about the Mashonise and how the Mashonise keeps the interest, but with the stokvels, at least it's shared with members. However, in that some members struggle to repay, so they end up paying more interest compared to the other members in the stokvel. And then one of the recommendations from Kumotso was around having a garage sale to get rid of the unused stuff in the house. So she mentioned that she started selling her daughter's baby stuff on Facebook Marketplace and bought her as the equities with money. And it was quite a lovely experience. I think this is something that we can try out in our different hubs. If it's a physical garage sale, we set out and then have a physical event where we bring our stuff and then sell, more like have a marketplace physically, or also a marketplace on Facebook. We can also try out that features. Others buying Russell Hobbs and never using them. I think everyone it's a victim. Victim is a strong, good word to use, of buying things that they don't use in the kitchen. And then, yes, debt review is scary. And people finding price tags on their clothes that they bought years ago. I think it's time we do that exercise that we once did a while back, where we had to let go of stuff, where we had to decluster, where we had to go through our wardrobe and then take out the things that we don't need, the kitchen, take out the things that we don't need. In that case, we are going to move to the next session. I hope you were all empowered in this session, because the aspect of this, it's all about empowerment and ensuring that you are better positioned, and then you are empowered to make the right decisions in terms of your money and money choices. So in terms of wrapping up, I would ask one of our team members to just share the link to the feedback. Yes, there's the link. So you can just click on that link and then provide with feedback. It's 4 simple questions, finding out how you found the session, if there's any recommendations, the key lessons that you're going to be taking forward from reading this book, and also any key lessons. So you'll see those 4 questions as you go through the feedback. And just the last announcement is to say that the February book, it's Winning the Money Game by Bambo. And then the next review is going to be on Sunday, the 26th of February, 2023. So by signing up on the ECHO program, you also get another reminder when the date comes for the next session. So you don't have to go and sign up again for the session. With that said, it's 25 us. Okay, with that said, that would be the end from my side. Thank you all for joining us. We are available on social media platforms. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube as ImPower'd Woman Book Club. I would like to, we've got 5 minutes left. I would like to hand over to Trina just to give us some feedback, and also how the session went as our launch, or message of support, if we may put it like that, as we continue.
Yeah, thank you, Malalo. I want to be the first one to say congratulations. I think you guys made news and a record today. You are actually the very first self-development hub for Project ECHO in South Africa. So congratulations. I think your curriculum and your group is just perfect. I was really impressed today with how you handle issues with technology, because it is affecting us all, right? And also your didactic, Ursula, was phenomenal. The questions were just spot on. And the case presentation was also phenomenal, Zinli. And thank you to all the participants for an engaging conversation. You have participated very well and succeeded at the climate, the culture, and the values of the ECHO model. So congratulations, everyone. You should be very proud. And hopefully it continues. Every month you'll have this group, and you'll use that same format to continue to amplify your knowledge and expertise across your country. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And a special thank you to you, Trina. Those meetings that we had every week to plan for this launch, we really appreciate you and all that you do for us, and allowing us to experience Project ECHO the way that we are experiencing it now. And allow me to also mention LITASA, the Literacy Association of South Africa, because that is where we met with Project ECHO in October last year, and then started this journey. And then now ImPower'd Woman Book Club is part of Project ECHO. So thank you, and I wish you all a lovely afternoon. Just to mention, there's the discussion tab on the ECHO platform. We're going to pose a question on how you experience the book, and then we can continue with that discussion on that platform. Thank you very much.
So Mulalo and ImPower'd Woman, I'll see you on Tuesday. I'll meet with you then, and we can debrief and kind of plan for the continuation. Okay? Congratulations, ladies. It was excellent.